All right. Well, welcome. If some of you who are tuning in today haven't met me yet, my name is Stephanie Roy, and I'm the Director of Employer and Candidate Support at CPABC. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to this wonderful session we have on finding your purpose with Chung. We hope you're as excited to hear from him as we are, and we invite you to introduce yourselves over in the chat. You can use this chat feature to engage with your peers and with Casey throughout the session. If you have a question that you'd like to ask anonymously, you can head over to the Q&A tab as well and ask a question anonymously there, and I'll make sure to draw my Casey's attention to that question. If you are experiencing any difficulties throughout the event, we recommend just highlighting your URL bar and hitting refresh. That often helps. But if you are experiencing other difficulties, you can reach out to myself or my colleagues Angela Fong or Linda Hinks in the People tab, and we can troubleshoot with you. So without further ado, please allow me to turn it over to Casey Chung, and looking forward to hearing what you've got to share with us today. Casey, thanks for being here with us.
Yeah, Stephanie, thanks so much for inviting me and having me a part of the Career Week. I wasn't able to make the last one, and I'm excited to see that this one's virtual and hybrid and in person. It seems like everything's coming back to a new normal. Thank you all for being here. I see there's about 20 people in the audience now. I'm wondering if everyone could just put into the chat box a quick hello. Just let me know if you're a PEP student, if you're a high school student, university student, or a qualified CPA. It'll help me understand who the audience is. So if you could go into the chat right now, that'd be great to start with. That's very nice. Uni student. Good. We're seeing a bit of a mix here. Awesome. Yeah, I like to do that. I can't see everyone right now, but if we were in a room, I'd basically just ask you to put up your hand so we have a better idea of who we have here. First of all, again, thank you so much for taking some time out of your lunch hour. We're going to be going up to 12:45 here. Have some questions at the very end. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, you could use the chat box. I have it on my screen here. I'm monitoring it, as well as the Q&A. Thank you all for including some of your backgrounds here. It's really great to see the variety. So let's start off. Here I am. My name is Casey. I'm a CPA, and I'm really grateful to be here right now to be presenting to you and sharing more about what, how we could define purpose and use purpose in our careers and our lives. And a bit of background on myself. I am a workshop facilitator. I'm also a CPA. Started off my career with KPMG after graduating from Sauder, and I spent some time doing audit throughout the early stages of my career. Obtained my CPA, then went into performance development. And along the way, I found a lot of my enjoyment and my passion was around working with people. And through that experience, I realized that I wanted to take my career in a new direction. So I went back to get some education, became an associate certified coach with the International Coaching Federation, which is an international body similar to the CPA. To get trained. And now I'm a career coach where I help individuals in the accounting field create careers that are fulfilling, that they enjoy, and not having to do that in a stressful way. On top of that, I'm a mental health advocate. So I really do care about our well-being, especially over the last few years with the COVID pandemic. It's really become top of mind in my life personally, and as well in how I connect with other people. I'll share more about my story along the way, this presentation, but I'm really, really happy to be here to support CPAs and aspiring CPAs in career development. So I like to take a macro approach when looking at purpose and looking at our careers and just acknowledging the system that we're in right now, acknowledging that the world has changed so much. I mean, I was in many of your shoes here. I see we have some second years, some students here. I was a student about 7 years ago, and what we were experiencing back then is very different than what we are experiencing now. And we all know it. There's a pandemic that is looming. It's not entirely gone yet. It's not at full force. We're working from home, and many of you may be starting to go back to the office part-time or maybe full-time. There's global conflict. There's a lot of inflation right now. I keep on getting news alerts on my phone about new inflation rates going up and interest, climate change. There's a lot going on. And I don't share this to overwhelm you, but more so to give a better picture of what the environment is that we're living in right now. And I would describe it as not chaotic, but there's a lot of change, right? There's a lot of change. And with everything happening in the world, we need to ask ourselves, what is actually within our control, right? What is actually within our control? And how can we move forward given all the change happening in the world right now? And here's some buzzwords that I'm starting to hear a lot more of, especially over the last year or two. I want you to go into the chat box and just let me know which one stands out most to you right now. Really good. Thank you for sharing. A lot of well-being, mental health, fulfillment, job progression from work from home. Yes, good. I mean, these are conversations that workplaces are now having with employees, that I'm having with my clients. And to be very, very honest, kind of see them as a big box. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of different things that we could be prioritizing. And putting them into a box, compartmentalizing the stresses, the anxieties, the excitement and fulfillment, all of it, we're stuck at home. And we're really starting to get out of that. And the opportunity that I want to share with all of you right now is really that change is inevitable. The world flipped upside down, the way that we work, the way that we operate. We're living in a time where we have a global job market, right? So we're not confined to our homes. Really what I want to share with you is that we have to adapt and change. And we have to be the change, right? So stay curious of what is possible. And we want to start building and designing from the ground up. So for you that are students here, really great to see you here in this conversation. And wherever you are in your career journey, there's always room to rebuild, especially after going through so much change in our world. And one thing I want to assure you is that small changes, even showing up to today's events, educating yourself and talking with future employers, talking with career advisors, connecting with each other, use this platform to connect with each other. These small actions will win in the long term. And if we start building a piece of this house every single day, by the end of the year, we might have that foundation that we're looking for, or even a beautiful home. When we relate that to our career, maybe that would be a job that you're trying to land, or a promotion, or a job change, or finishing up your education. But it's actually quite difficult to continue moving forward when there's so much uncertainty happening in the world. So I just want to assure you here, change is inevitable, and we have the opportunity to be the change. So the question is, what will we build into the foundation, right? What will we build into the foundation? Purpose. Okay. Look at purpose. Again, it's one of those buzzwords that came up in that box, in the box of awareness here. I'm going to push it back to you. What is the purpose of you being in this conversation right now? Right? What is the purpose of you being in this conversation, and what would you like to get out from this conversation? Leaving here in 30 minutes, what are you going to be leaving here with? So go ahead and drop that into the chat box. And this is really going to help me understand how I can adapt to you and how I could tailor this conversation to your needs. To educate ourselves, yes. What else? better knowledge of where to direct my career path. Let's get a few more here. It'd be great to hear from at least a quarter of you. Inspiration and motivation. Good. Find new connections. Amazing. There's 40 other people here. Could send messages afterwards. Understand what it takes to be a CPA. Good. Let's get a couple more. Learn more about what drives me. Amazing. I just wanted to highlight something that I noticed here. Each of you are coming in with a different purpose. Your own drive, whether that's motivation, clarity, new connections, lessons, to come to terms with what I want and what I think employers want. Oh, I love that. What is it that you want? Good. I really want to highlight that we all come with different purposes, and our purposes are personal. And yes, I noticed when I asked everyone to say their name and include what background you're coming from, a lot of responses. When I ask something as deep as purpose, it takes a bit more time to sit and understand what you actually want, right? What you actually want. So let's take a pause. Take a few breaths. I'm going to guide you through a really, really quick grounding exercise so we could get into the mindset and settle into a new country. Yes, let's settle into our space right now, whether you're at the workplace, at school, at home. Just take a few breaths and calm our minds, calm our bodies. I like this picture here. You can't tell if that's the sky or the lake. It's so calm. And someone asked earlier to understand what it takes to be a CPA and what they do. I mean, accountants work hard. We think a lot. We analyze a lot. It's almost like a computer with all these applications open, or our phones with all these applications open. And sometimes we just need a pause, do a soft reset. Let's take one more really deep breath here. And I know this could be uncomfortable for some of you. And I know this also could have been that pause that you're waiting for all day. Just wondering if we could add into the chat box one word that you're feeling from this 1 minute exercise. Just one word. Peace. Relief. Still tense. Yeah, that's okay. I'm here. We're here for you. If you're still feeling tense, move up your arms, shake your body, loosen up. That's fine. We might just stay here for the rest of our session just so we could have some place of clarity. No, we're going to move forward, but I want to thank you all for just taking that moment for yourself. And it's so important. I'm just going to go back a few slides. It's so important when we have so much on our mind, so much on the go, that we could pause and connect with ourselves, right? So that we could gain some clarity. And when I was an accountant, I often had a lot of windows open, 10, 20 of them. And they were so distracting. But when I put everything aside and focused on that one Excel sheet to reconcile cash flow statement, it was so much easier. So to push aside any distractions, it's a practice and it takes time. So we're going to continue moving forward here. Start with why. Simon Sinek. At the core, why? Think from the inside out. We started to share some of the purpose of why we're here, right? Why we're in this specific conversation on purpose, right? We are all here on purpose right now. You chose to be here. In the same sense, we're choosing to be curious about the CPA designation, the profession, the industry, business. We have a connection to the why. And in this presentation, I really want to highlight the importance of starting with why. Because the purpose is the cause or the belief behind what you are doing. Okay. Choosing with intention, with purpose is so important. And the how is actually how you fulfill that purpose, how you realize your why. And the what is the result, the product, getting the new job, tangible proof. And it's not always easy to see the why in ourselves and the why of others. It's very easy to see the what, what we do for a living, what our job is, what amount of money you might be earning or what you have. The how, that goes behind the scenes, right? Accountants put in a lot of work, a lot of intention towards studies. And the why, as we learned earlier, tends to be quite personal. And all of us have a why. So I'm going to zoom out again and put out a question to the audience. Why CPA? Why business? Why accounting? What is it about the profession, the work, the learning, the opportunity that drives you? Again, I encourage openness here and curiosity. Lifelong learning, yes. Again, this is at the core. And once we get closer to the why, we can then make decisions that are less stressful, less tense, because we know that we're in alignment with our why. Positive impacts, I love that. Impacting others, impacting yourself in a positive way. And the actions that I hear from that are, actions of compassion and kindness, giving ourselves compassion and kindness. Good. Now, moving inward to the why requires us to slow down and ask these very open-ended questions. It's really easy to ask, what do you do? Oh, I'm a coach. Casey, why do you do it? Well, I believe that each and every one of you have the ability to lead your own lives and to feel empowered, to make a positive impact, and to continually learn. I have that belief. Again, the purpose is the cause or the belief behind what you are doing. And I believe for myself, in order to have that positive impact, like we have mentioned in the comments, I need to go outside my comfort zone and present and share ideas. That's the what. That's facilitate and workshop. Yes, I just want to read a few more here. Thrive on understanding the big picture and how we could help a team achieve it. Teamwork, I love that. Finance affects a larger part of life, and being part of managing this aspect of life is fulfilling, beautiful. I don't want to be an assistant or to serve someone, to be responsible for their life. I want to do something more analytical. It does not have to be accounting. I'm not sure accounting is the right fit. I might like finance more. To leverage analytical pattern or thinking patterns. There are so many beautiful reasons why you are here today. And I just want to pause and appreciate that. Because each of you here are coming out of purpose. And the what is in the form of further education, going outside your comfort zone, attending this session, and contributing ideas to this. So yes, we are going to aim to accomplish the purpose that you all set out for today. We'll move on here. This is a model that I learned from one of my coaches several years ago. Purpose-driven motivation. And at the time, I was experiencing this feeling of stagnance. I was working at KPMG at the time as a senior accountant. And at that point, I already finished my CPA, put in a lot of work, honestly, 7 years of education. I achieved it. I passed the exam. We had a big party. We celebrated. But something was missing. I didn't feel that ecstatic energy that everyone else was feeling. I felt like I achieved it, but something was missing. I felt even more lost. It sounds a bit confusing because you put in so much work, made decisions. But that unsettling feeling is something that I needed to pause and listen to more. And what I was feeling, at least from my understanding of myself, and maybe some of you can relate, was my relationship to accomplishing choice-driven motivation. And I'll explain that. Choice-driven motivation, right here in the bottom left corner, is very definite. It's defined and it's inflexible. I'll give a simple example. I want to have a chicken Caesar salad for lunch. It's almost lunchtime for me. I go get it. I eat it. I'm happy. What's next? If I don't get my chicken Caesar salad, I wish I had that. Maybe I could go order it on Uber Eats. Dissatisfaction. And if I really want it, but I can't have it, it causes this gap. Or in other words, a dissatisfaction or an anxiety or a worry. But also motivation to go get it. Go get some lettuce. Go get some dressing. Go get some chicken, cook it. Put in some work to achieve it. The key is, once you achieve something that has been based out of choice-driven motivation, that motivation is gone. You've achieved it. Similar to when I achieved my CPA, I achieved it. And let me explain this in more of a career context. Getting the CPA was a goal that I had in mind ever since I was in my first year of university. So from year one, all the way 6-7 years later, getting my CPA, I was so oriented toward this very defined and inflexible goal. For good, a lot of good things came out of it. Actually, a ton. I don't regret any decisions in the past. But what I learned from my experience is that it was so defined and inflexible, and the motivation was really about accomplishing. And yes, at the time, I also had a curiosity to eventually start my own business. That's why I wanted to go into audit. And I had a curiosity about learning business skills to open up new opportunities. Right? But once I achieved that, I felt so lost. I'll give one more example. You get a good grade in a course, you get it, you finish the course, what next? There's always another exam. And yes, that was my life, literally from grade school all the way till finishing my CPA a few years ago. There was always an exam, right? An exam, an accomplishment to work towards. And once I achieved all of that, I finished all my education, I got my CPA, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? I started to think toward a goal. And this language might be a little bit confusing for you, but goal-driven motivation is undefined. It's flexible. I'll use a chicken salad example. I'm more flexible than that. I just want to eat. That's it. As long as I'm eating, I'm happy. Notice what happened there? We became much more flexible to the outcomes. And we don't have to be as picky. So if I put that into a career context, if the goal is, I just want to be able to work a job where, I just want to make some notes here. Have lifelong learning, making a positive impact. Good. But even more narrow, you could think, I want to gain some accounting skills. That is goal-driven motivation. I want to gain business skills, entrepreneurial skills. That's part of my motivation that I had, but I wasn't very well connected with it when I finished. And in goal-driven motivation, it actually is much stronger fuel. It'll keep us moving because it's not as easy to accomplish, right? Technical skills in accounting and finance and entrepreneurship, you could go really deep into depth. Good motivation. And with the CPA, yes, I achieved that. I got
Hi, everyone. So Casey may need to refresh his browser, as I indicated at the beginning of the session here. So just hang tight with us while we try to get Casey back online. All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. I've just connected with Casey, and we're going to get him reset and back up and ready. In the meantime, if there's anything that's resonated so far, Casey will be able to see it when he joins back in again. So please feel free to type some messages in the chat. You are back, Casey. I can't see you quite yet. But if you highlight the URL bar, refresh, you should be able to join on screen again.
Hello, hello.
Here it comes.
Okay.
I can hear you great.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I cut off, but I'll just come back from what I recall.
Yeah.
Thank you for bearing with me there.
All good.
The purpose that you define for yourself, again, it's personal. It's the fuel that will keep you moving forward. And I was about to share, for me, my purpose is to help others and to continually improve myself. And I found that, I'm going to go to the next slide here. It takes courage to live on purpose. I knew deep down I wanted to get my CPA, so I knew business skills. I could build a network in the industry, which I'm a part of right now. I love it. So that I can succeed in delivering and building a business and fulfilling a mission. But that deeper purpose of mine was held back by self-doubts, right? Of I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough skills, or I'm not smart enough. And that uncertainty scared me. And that going outside your comfort zone is what I needed to do. But I feared judgment and I preferred stability and comfort. But I didn't realize that discomfort is where we grow. And it really wasn't until the pandemic happened, all this movement, the shaking, reminded me that I could come back to my purpose, right? And the only thing that's really going to hold me back is myself. So yes, it takes courage to live on purpose. And this is deep work. It's not easy. It requires some moment of pause, which again, I really appreciate that you're all doing this or all here participating. But I want to bring it more tangibly into your world here. So here's another concept, ikigai. It's a Japanese term of finding balance in life, peace, calm, something that someone mentioned earlier. You can look at the 4 different areas: what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what you're good at. And yes, I heard all of that in the chat, right? To improve your skills, to be a part of a team, to make a positive impact, what you're good at, lifelong learning. And the goal is to find the balance between all 4 of these, ikigai, right? So one that I know for sure is being an accountant fits all of this. It can fit all of this. It's then up to you to relate to what your purpose is behind what you love, what you're good at, what you can get paid for, and what the world needs. And I'll tell you this, and I think someone mentioned this, finance affects a larger system, larger part of life. Yes. Without accountants, without CPAs, the financial system will fall apart. The world needs it. What you can get paid for, yes. Accountants have high-paying salaries, at least in the long run. What you're good at, if you're passing the exams and you're able to learn and grow, yes. What you love. The question really is, how can you love the work that you do? How can we get the best of all worlds here? And this really does come down to your purpose. And asking yourself these questions: what do I love? How do I want to impact the world? What do I want to trade my time and efforts for in terms of compensation? What am I actually good at? I see a lot of analytical thinkers here. I love it, right? Self-recognition, self-understanding. And when I was an accountant, I didn't know if I loved it. I had to try it. I tested it. I joined boards. I helped non-for-profits that I'm still involved with from an accounting lens. I was really good at it. I wouldn't say I loved it. I loved it at the beginning, but what changed was I started to gravitate way closer towards helping people, one-on-one, in teams. And yes, I had interest in both, but I needed to make a decision for myself. How would I like to be spending the rest of my career, or at least the next 5 years? And I had my fair share of numbers and analytical thinking. I really wanted to be able to pause and learn how to motivate. And I did a bunch of it while I was at the firm and in the profession, being a mentor, CPA mentor for all my staff at KPMG, and led mental health initiatives. And I thought, this is my calling. This is my calling. But I was only spending about 20% of my time doing what I loved. I got really curious and talked to my coach about this. How can I spend 80% of my time or 100% of my time doing what I love? And for me, it happened to be a career shift into coaching. For you, it may be something different, right? But it takes action and risk and embracing uncertainty to find what you love, right? And really importantly, as we're all here in Career Week, we're looking for an employer or a team, an organization, a leader that we can feel a connection to Ikigai, right? And what you love, how you feel towards your work, comes down to these factors. This is from a career coach, Norm Amundsen. And again, we're going to try something here. take a look at these 10 items and type one that you could live without into the chat box. What is one of these that you could sacrifice? You could say, it's okay, I don't need this. Recognition. Recognition. Let's see if the pattern continues. None. Mike, that's right. This is a tough question, Mike. Location. Yes. Let's hear a few more. Recognition, relationships, learning, location. Location. Wow, a lot of location. Makes sense. I mean, we're living in a time where we can work remotely. And I take it not all of you right here are in Vancouver and BC. That's cool. It's okay. It's how we're working nowadays. Let's flip it around. Which is the most important quality attractor to you? Contribution, recognition, learning, learning, learning. Contribution, learning. Wow, there's some themes here. Good. What I'm going to ask of you is take mental note of that, right? Perhaps even your top 3. Yes, the type of work, I would put in work fit, or learning. These workplace attractors are not all going to be met in every single role, in every single job, every single season. In the accounting industry, it's quite cyclical. Our work balance and flexibility, especially during month end or during the busy tax season, gets compromised. But during the summer, it really slows down, right? Job security is something that accountants would always rave about. Accounting is the most secure job. I got challenged last year and the year before. I saw many people get laid off. I don't want to scare you, but that's the reality of our work environment right now. There's so much change. So this comes down to purpose, right? I want to button this up here. These workplace attractors are related to your purpose. They're related to your why, right? I have accountants come to me, say, Casey, I want to find work that's a better fit for me and my values. So I ask, okay, what are your values? Say, well, I'm not too sure yet. Okay, let's start with that. Let's start with your why. Start with your purpose so that we could find a company that aligns with you. And today, when it's an employee market, a lot of jobs open and available, as you can see, all the employers looking to hire. These are the questions that we need to be asking, right? In interviews, in conversations, coffee chats. So one thing I want to challenge you with is hang on to that workplace attractor and action on that today, tomorrow, on Friday. Ask, do you offer hybrid? Is it fully remote? And I'll use an example with location. Some people are looking to be fully remote. And if they're applying for a job that's requiring in-person or hybrid, and location's number 1 on the workplace attractor, you're wasting your time, right? Wasting your time looking at jobs or opportunities that are not meeting your very first need. If location's at the very end for you, yeah, that's fine. So really what I want to let you know and what I want to have you leave with is everyone's purpose and why will be different because we all have different backgrounds, different life circumstances, skills, talents, values. But I want to empower you to start thinking and reflecting on, what do I actually want? What do I actually want? And what do I need for my career, to satisfy my needs so I could feel, again, going back to our purpose, calm, peaceful, lifelong learning, positive impacts, inspiration, motivation, new connections. You are all in control of that. All in control of that. I really just want to highlight that. So really, really quick exercise here. How to live your purpose. Here are some questions that I like to use to reflect. When was a time where you felt peak joy? The happiest you've ever been, whether that's in a workplace environment or not. Right? How can we get more of that? For me personally, I was very fortunate to go down to Ecuador with KPMG for a trip to help build schools. And the peak joy moment that I had was sharing in front of the group of 70 KPMG people from all over Canada and North America, my appreciation for teamwork and expressing openly emotions and recognition to others and celebration. That just gave me so much fulfillment. And that has been one of my guides, connecting emotionally with people. Hey, that's what we're doing right now, right? There's over 50 of us here, and I feel so confident and comfortable to share some of my stories and how I found my purpose and how you could continue to develop your career and your life. Like that, honestly being here right now with each of you right here in the moment is giving me so much joy. Who makes you feel happy? Like, who do you want to surround yourself with? What kind of colleagues, friends? Family's a bit different. Colleagues and friends, leaders. Who is the person that you want to be so people are happy around you? How can we bring that to the forefront? And this is a question for everyone here. What can you do today with purposeful intention towards your why, towards your purpose? Let's throw it into the chat. If you're taking away one action from today's presentation, we're just getting to the end here. What is one action that you can take with you? And please do share. It's really helpful. Even just putting it out into the world gives us a sense of accountability. Let's read this one out here. Actively listen and be present when someone is talking. Take interest in what they say. Oh, I love that. I just love that. Purpose does not have to be a big change in your life. It's small little moments of intention and awareness of being present with someone else. Support my health by exercising. Sarah, I'm going to challenge you there. What does exercise mean? Is it going for a walk? Is it a jog? Lifting a certain weight? Whatever that is, we could get specific. Nice. Slowing down, figuring out my why. Lifelong learning is a process. Exactly. Create some space for yourself. Nice. Physio exercises. Create some space for yourself to connect with your why. Finally, I will have some space for questions at the very end. We are getting to the end of our conversation today. I really want to thank each of you here in CPABC for inviting me to connect. I'm really grateful for having the 45 minutes that we have together. If you want to stay in contact with me, I'm just going to put some information into the chat box. I'm always happy to connect with people that I present with and that have interest into this kind of work. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active there. I have a newsletter and resources that I usually share with my followers. Lastly, one thing I am going to be offering for each of you is if you are interested in having a one-on-one conversation to gain some clarity on your purpose. or on your career, I'm happy to set aside 15 minutes for you. You could book a call in the link there. So I'm just going to drop these links into the chat in case anyone wants to access that. And I'm just going to open it up to any questions.
Hi, Casey.
Hi.
Before we open it up to more questions, I agree with what's been put in the chat there. Very insightful. You've given us all some food for thought on how to gain a little bit more clarity and purpose for ourselves in our careers. We spend a lot of time at work, so it's important to feel good when you're doing your work. So thank you for taking the time to share this with us. Much, much appreciated. I'm going to wrap up the session. But if you are free to stay for another 10 minutes or so and would like to chat with people, I'm just going to leave this session open for you. It will cut off at about 12:55 so that people can make their way to the next session, but you'll have about 10 minutes to talk with people. So if you've got questions, you can pop them into the chat as I'm wrapping things up here. You can also request to join Casey on screen, as a couple of you did below. Casey, you'll be able to see those names below and you'll be able to bring them up on screen afterwards. For those of you who are going to head out now, we are going to take another 15-minute break before our next session. We invite you to enter the room by navigating back to the Sessions tab or Sessions and Workshop after the break and joining us for our next session, which will be with Mike Scheckman, Regional Director at Robert Half, and he will be talking to us about finding a job when you want to work remotely. So I think I heard some of that in this talk here. So some of you will be interested in joining us shortly at 1. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to you, Casey. I'm going to go off screen and I'm going to let you spend the next 10 minutes speaking with folks. Thank you again for being here.